below red, the microphones are muted. If you're a board member attending online, please have your camera on during the meeting, especially during the voting and during the closed session, which we will have later on in the meeting. Online joining us are Hugh, Dean, Anna, Scotty, Marge, Skylar, Mark, and also Peter. Regrets from George, and I believe Tom as well. In person, we have Jim, Brian, Sandy, and Paul. So welcome everybody. I'll continue with our territorial acknowledgement. As follows, we acknowledge that the Upper Thames River watershed is within the traditional territory of the Attawandaron, Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Luna-Pewauk peoples, who have deep, long-standing, and intrinsic relationships to the land, water, plants, and animals of southwestern Ontario. We acknowledge the First Nation communities within the Thames River watershed who are connected to and by the Thames River. These nations include Chippewas of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, Munsee Delaware Nation, and Delaware Nation at Moravian Town. In the region, there are 11 First Nation communities and a growing and diverse Indigenous urban population. We acknowledge and respect local and regional First Nations as original, contemporary, and future caretakers of this watershed, and we are committed to working alongside Indigenous peoples from across the region and Turtle Island to strengthen relationships, honor treaty rights, and improve watershed health. Modifications to the agenda. Let's check with Michelle if there's been any changes since. No changes to the agenda since it was circulated to board members. The declarations of pecuniary interest. I look to see if any members have such a declaration to make. Okay, seeing none at this time, but at any time throughout the meeting, if the need arises, please indicate that to the chair. Presentations and delegations, none are scheduled today. Administrative business, we have 5.1 approval of minutes of the previous meeting held December 16th, 2025. Those were circulated in the agenda package. Recommendation is that the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority Board of Directors approve the Board of Directors minutes dated December 16th, 2025. Looking for a mover and a seconder to get those on the floor. Paul, Brian, any further discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you. Any business arising from the minutes? None from the chair, but I'll just check with the members. Okay, seeing none. Item 5.3, correspondence. None has been received for this meeting. So we will move into section 6, report for consideration. 6.1, discussion on formalizing the general manager's performance appraisal process. And we have a report prepared by Teresa. Either Teresa or Tracy, bring that forward.
Thank you. I'll just point out the back group, you have Jennifer Williams. She is a human resources coordinator. She and Teresa put this report together. If there's any questions of the report, I'll refer to Jennifer.
Okay. Thank you. So I'll Skylar, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to say thank you very much to staff for the recommendation they came up with. I agree with it and would be happy to move it. I've been sitting on a couple different boards and we've been kind of moving in this direction with most of them just to have like an external consultant run the GM's review, just to keep it kind of separate from the internal operations of the HR team, and just to have it a bit consistent year to year. So just want to say thank you to the work, and I agree. And yeah, just appreciate it and happy to move it if you require a mover.
Hannah, you're next on the speakers list.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I do have just a couple comments and maybe a question from the last comment that was made that it's done year to year. So that's my first question. Is this review done annually? Getting a consultant?
Currently, it's done internally every year.
Currently, it's done internally every year, according to Jennifer.
Okay, and then maybe another question regarding the projected cost from 1,000 to 5,000, depending on the vendor. So that leads me to think that it's going to be external, is my question.
Jennifer, go
I
ahead.
believe the motion is to move it to an external process instead of an internal process.
Thank you for that clarification. That's what I thought, and I would be okay with that. My comment around the projected cost from 1,000 to 5,000, I would like to see this be a meaningful consultant, more senior, having a bit of experience as well. Not sure if we would be able to get anyone between the price range of 1,000 to 5,000. Those are my comments, but I will be supporting it.
I think what I'll, Brian, go ahead. No, you're good.
I just wanted to clarify if there was a motion on the floor.
Well, that's what I was going to do here. I was waiting for a staff report, but or a commentary from staff, but I'll read the recommendation first. That's been provided here. So the recommendation reads as follows: that the board engage an external consultant to support the following functions: administering a formal 360-degree survey process, including staff, board members, and select external partners, administering a self-evaluation of the general manager, compiling, analyzing, and anonymizing and summarizing all results into a clear, actionable report, presented the findings to the board in closed session, assisting with the creation of a professional development work plan for the general manager. So that's the recommendation provided. Is there a mover? Skylar, you looking to move that? Okay, moved by Skylar, seconder.
I just have a question prior to that, if I could. My question is, given what's going on within the CA world, much as I support this, I believe in everything on this. It's just, is it still like? I guess the question to staff is, why do you feel comfortable moving forward with this recommendation, still knowing that things could change within the next 12 months?
Tracy.
I'll answer that one if I can through the chair. Yes, there's a lot of uncertainty, but I think this is reflective of best practices. So regardless of what this potential change could look like, it could take a lot longer than even 12 months to implement any of these changes more broadly, but that the province is intending. And B, I think if we're aligning ourselves to be following good practices and continuously improvement, I think that's a good way for us to be going into any changes that are moving forward. So.
Mr. Chair.
All right, so we had a mover recommendation provided by staff has been read out. We have a mover. Skylar's moved that recommendation. Is there a seconder for this recommendation?
I will second to put it on the floor.
Okay, Brian has moved, or Brian has seconded to put this motion on the floor. Okay, opening this up for discussion. Sandy, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The only way I'm going to support the motion is if we add a part B. that says that work not begin until sufficient information is received regarding the future of our CA to warrant the work. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty. I really don't want the process to start until it's clear that it's going to be a meaningful process. Yeah, so I've sent the wording to Michelle earlier this morning. This is at least keeping it such that it's on the to-do list, but it's not being done until it needs to be done. There's a lot of other stuff going on. I mean, just the work plan report that we're going to see later. Let's make sure this has impact, not just work that we have to stop because of what the province is doing.
So you're putting forward an amendment?
Yeah, it would be a part B.
Michelle, could you read the amendment, please?
It'd be part B, and that work not begin until sufficient information is received regarding the future of our CA to warrant the work.
So that amendment's been forwarded by Sandy and moved.
Second.
Brian will second that amendment. So now we're discussing the amendment. Okay, speakers list on the amendment. I've got Skylar and then Anna. Go ahead, Skylar.
Thank you. Yes, I'd support that if I could amend that amendment whereby, or the next time we do this process, I don't mind that being the direction we're heading in, but I don't want the next year, if we are doing this again, to do the same thing what we did this year, because frankly, I don't think it's a good enough process. And this is actually less work. This would be paying a consultant to do this so our staff don't have to do it. At the health unit, we paid someone about $1,500 to do this, and they did an exceptional job, and they do it every year for our senior leaders at the health unit. So it is not an extreme cost for a good result. So if I could put an amendment to the amendment, that would add or at next year's process. Because again, I don't think we should do the same one that we did this past year or previous years.
Okay. We have an amendment to the amendment on the floor. Is there a seconder for this amendment to the amendment? Second call for an amendment. Seconder. Third and final call for a seconder to the amendment to the amendment. Don't see anybody willing to second that, so. Michelle, I believe that amendment to the amendment is not going anywhere, so we're back to the initial amendment. Anna, are you willing to speak to that?
Yes, I would have seconded this. I think it's the cautious approach, given the uncertainty, and yet we're still looking at hiring a consultant and looking into the review as we know a bit more.
So you're in support of the amendment?
Yes.
Sandy's forward. Okay, thank you. Brian, you're next on the speaker.
Through you. Yeah, I just want to, I don't disagree with Skylar whatsoever. I just think that the process that we have right now with the amendment on the floor will achieve that. Like, the goal is not to do this. It's just not to do it if it's not warranted to be able to go through that. In the case that everything is transferred to the regional and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. So if everything's transferred instead of our hands, there's no review to do. There's no sense hiring a consultant to do the work. But certainly if there is a review to do, yeah, go ahead, and that's the process. Big fan of 360 reviews and all that stuff to be able to get that the feedback. So I think we'll come out to the same spot, but I do appreciate the amendment because again, there's so much unknown out there.
Thanks, Brian. Members, Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, I would have supported the original motion if this was normal times, but it's not normal times. There's too many uncertainties. So what I'm looking at, everything that comes before the board for consideration is, does it either maintain or improve our service level? Or does it put us in a strong position going into the new reality, whatever the new reality is, whether it's what's been proposed by the province now, or it's some other adaptation to it. And I don't see where changing the general manager's assessment process is needed to be done at this point, unless the province changes their mind. A year from now, there's not going to be an Upper Thames board, and unfortunately, there's probably not going to be the position of general manager to review, at least the way we know it now. So I will support the amendment to only do this if it needs to be done. I think there's a tremendous amount of work that's much higher on the priority list than putting this in place.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Any other speakers to the amendment? Okay, if not, I will call the question, but first I'll ask Michelle to read out the amendment one more time, please.
The amendment is Part B, and that work not begin until sufficient information is received regarding the future of our CA to warrant the work.
Okay, that was moved by Sandy, seconded by Brian. So I'll call the question. All those in favor of voting for the amendment? Opposed, if any? Okay, the amendment is carried. Now we're going back to the original motion.
Part A anyway.
Yeah, so the original motion. Who was our mover and seconder on the original motion, please?
Tyler and Brian.
Trevor and Brian.
Okay, votes. Okay, so we had the original motion, as recommended by staff, was moved by Skylar, seconded by Brian. Any further discussion on the original motion? Okay, don't see any hands up, so I'll call the question. All those in favor of the original motion? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you. All right, 6.2, proposed implementation plan for service delivery review recommendations. Report, Jenna can speak to the report that's provided. Jenna, floor is yours.
Great. So we discussed reports to you over the last meeting about the service delivery review, which concluded at the late fall last year. And we have a series of 9 recommendations that were provided by Blackline Consulting. They were at our last meeting to provide a presentation on their review and those recommendations. So we put together kind of a temporary or for consideration implementation plan during the last meeting as well. And this is a more formalized implementation plan, but it's focused on kind of a phase 1, which will be the work that we're attempting to complete through 2026. So it's quite ambitious. There's a lot of work planned, and we'll be relying on our existing staff for implementation and the budget that we've set out for 2026 to kind of support this work. I don't know if we'll be able to achieve it all or not, but certainly given the uncertainty around what's happening with the provincial direction and the consolidations of conservation authorities, that may affect our implementation schedule. But I think we need to move forward without kind of any of those answers. We're moving forward with an implementation plan for 2026, which is what you have in front of you. And I propose to bring back quarterly updates on implementation to the board, so you can see how we're progressing with this, and we can identify any setbacks or changes to the plan as we bring those reports forward.
Okay, thanks, Jenna. Tracy, do you have any notes to add?
Yes, through the chair, again, when we've given our last discussion as well, recognizing that these are some of the key components that are about service delivery and improvements that we want to be making. I think these improvements align with some of the provincial goals that's been stated about their rationale for some of the consolidation. So certainly support Jen and the team in wanting to advance these priorities at this time.
Okay, thanks, Tracy. Board members, any comments or questions on the reports given by Janet or Tracy? Sandy, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to staff, is it fair to say that those that have priority are customer service related?
It's hard to say. I'd say everything's a priority, right? I think that we're keen to implement the recommendations that have been provided by Blackline. We recognize that there's improvements that we can make, and we want to achieve all of them, but client service or customer service is certainly a key component of that for sure.
The other question I had, and Jenna alluded to it when she mentioned having staffing available to work on these, is the planning and regs unit now fully staffed? Because I know that earlier in the year, or a year ago, there had been vacancies. So where do we stand?
Jenna?
Through the chair, we certainly still have a vacancy in our planning coordinator role. But given how we may consider some restructuring of the unit, we've actually moved forward 2 times with trying to fill that position and haven't found a successful candidate yet through that process. So we're still kind of debating when the appropriate time is to post that position again. And especially in light of the proposed consolidations and changes, we're concerned about trying to find the right candidate if we were to post today. So we're kind of on the fence about whether or when to move forward with that position. But otherwise, we're relatively stable in terms of our staffing.
And that raises for me, Mr. Chair. Again, it's the complexity of the situation that we're faced with the uncertainty and what might be a model that fits the current situation, but may not fit the future situation. And a whole bunch of work that needs to be done that requires a certain skill set. And I'm just raising the idea, because I don't want to tell you what to do, but maybe there's an opportunity to think about if there's a vacancy, what's the best way to utilize the vacancy in order to advance what we want to do, at least in the short term.
I think that's part of the considerations as well. Sandy,
Okay.
is that, what
Glad
makes
to hear
the
that.
most sense in terms of our structure and our staffing? And does it make sense to move forward with filling vacancies, or do we need to look kind of bigger picture at what our structure is and what that's going to mean moving forward?
Right, because you've got an ambition, very ambitious goals here, and it's very much appreciated that you're moving forward on them. And just want you to know the board wants to help you get there. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Sandy. Any other questions for staff? Any questions? So the recommendation in our package reads as follows: that the board of directors approves the proposed 2026 phase 1 implementation plan for the service delivery review recommendations. Brian?
You'll move.
Moved by Brian. Paul, any second? Okay. Moved and seconded, so discussion. Brian, go ahead, please.
Mr. Chair, through you. I'm excited about this, but I'm also, not like, I think, here's the thing. I feel the board and the authority have taken this very seriously. We've listened to feedback from some people in the room, but also the community on how we could do better. And we took that very seriously. We got a great report back, and now it's time to implement it. But there's a lot of questions about that, about what we can do and what we can't do because of the unknown. And I think this is a time to highlight to the province and to others about what, these are the implications of, change takes time. And now this is going to be slowed down. I know there's a lot on here, but there's other pieces that couldn't be included, such as software and other things that are recommended that can't even be thought of right now because of the implications that could come forward, right? So there's a lot there that is, I think this is a fair thing about staff of what is reasonable in a time frame for one, two, what could be utilized. But again, it could have came back with, well, we're not going to implement anything because we don't know. But I think that there's a serious thing there to make things better, and I appreciate that from staff. And you know, it's one of those things of, I hope we stay the status quo because so we can see the results of this. But knowing that I think this is the best that we can hope for at this time. And again, it's a plan. There's a lot of unknowns to try to implement that plan, but I think it's a good sign to say that we're taking this seriously and we want to have to provide the level of service that our customers need and want, so we can get the results there. Regardless of what the provincial standard is, you know, that's and what they're giving us to work with as far as guidance and stuff, the guidelines and stuff like that. So certainly support this, and we'll see what it brings. But I like that it's phase one. You know, there's reasonable things that you can achieve there, and of course there's future phases once that stuff's done, which, you know, is going to take time.
Thanks, Brian. Paul, go ahead, please.
Yeah, this meets the two criteria I just talked about a few minutes ago. It will improve customer service, and it also aligns with addressing, as Tracy said, the main concern of the province, or the rationale for this whole amalgamation thing. It has to do around planning and permitting. And I think that there's been a lot of work gone into this by our own staff and by the consultants report, and to get to the point where we have recommendations. And I don't think it would be prudent to say, well, we don't know what is going forward, so we're going to just stop. We've got all these recommendations. We're not going to do with them anything with them. I think it makes sense to proceed according to this plan. If more information comes forward that doesn't make that sense, we can deal with it then. But yeah, I support the reasons that both Tracy and Brian outlined, that we should proceed with this and not put a stop to it at this point.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Other members, comments, discussion? See any? I guess I'll add my comments as well. Pleased to see that the recommendation is to get started and move forward, consistent with my comments and recommendations from a previous meeting. Until we get till this authority is told differently by another authority, we have work to do, responsibilities to administer, and we're going to continue to do that. So I will be supportive of the recommendation as well. So don't see any other speakers. Oh, you go ahead, Paul.
Something I forgot was, I noticed in the plan there was consultation with other conservation authorities, so that kind of ties in with whatever the amalgamation process.
You. Anyone else? Last call. All right. If none, we have Brian moved, seconded by Paul. Call the question. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 6.3, planning and permitting fee schedules. Reports prepared by Jenna, and Tracy and Jenna can speak to the reports. Please.
I guess I'll start off. A little bit of a surprise. We did receive a direction from the minister at the end of the year to freeze fees again. There's still some uncertainty out there if there will be some future direction. So again, taking a little bit of a cautious approach, but recognizing that our fees are well behind what our targets are in our fees policy, and applying a cost of living type increase for the fee schedules related to our planning and development fees. Those have been provided. If there's any questions, Jenna can answer them. Jenna, you have anything else to add?
No, okay. All right, thanks, Tracy. Members, any questions for staff in this report? See any questions? So I'll read the recommendation. Recommendation is as follows, that the proposed revisions to the planning and permitting fee schedules be approved by the UTRCA Board of Directors for implementation beginning February 1, 2026. Is there a mover recommendation? Anna, I see your hand up. Are you moving? Okay, and moved by Anna. Mark, are you second? Seconded by Mark. Okay. Right. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Thank you. All right, that concludes section 6. So now section 7, reports in camera. Recommendation is that the Board of Directors adjourn to close session in camera in accordance with section C12 of the UTRCA. Administrative bylaw to discuss security of the UTRCA property, pending disposition of land and litigation affecting the UTRCA. With a seconder, please, Ryan, seconded by Dean. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. So we will be moving in camera at 10:04 a.m.
It's just so long. I don't know.
Okay, we are back into open session again. So out of closed session, there's 3 items to deal with. 7.1, noting I guess the time going back in is 10:53 a.m. So 7.1, security of UTRCA property. The recommendation reads as follows: that the board of directors receive the report for information on their current cybersecurity posture and review of the plan priorities for 2026. We're in seconder on that, please. Moved by Brian, second by Hugh. Discussion. All the question, all those in favor? It's carried, thank you. 7.2, pending disposition of land update, statements of claim summary. The board provided direction to staff regarding pending disposition of land. And 7.3, litigation affecting the UTRCA. Motion reads as follows: that the board receives the following report for information. Moved by Brian, seconder. Sandy, all those in favor? Opposed, if any, it's carried. Thank you. All right, moving to section 8, reports for information. 8.1, administration enforcement, our section 28 status report, authored by Joe Gordon. There's a staff member that wants to speak to that right now.
Just answer any questions. There's questions of the report.
Okay, questions for staff. We'll start with Sandy, please.
The question, it looks like both the 2024 and 25 were equally busy with numbers of permits issued and clearances. Yet at the same time, at least in the CMA, the construction business has been kind of slow. So how do I reconcile those two in my mind?
Go ahead.
Right through, Mr. Chair. I guess from my own observations, I would wonder if what you refer to, the construction industry slowing down, if that relates to individual landowners with like deck replacements or minor construction like that, because that is also covered by us. So may have been a slowdown in like major scale developments, like kind of subdivisions, but still staying up there with individual landowner applications, I guess is how I'd potentially see that discrepancy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Any other questions on the report? Okay, seeing none. Recommendation reads as follows: that the board of directors receive the section 28 status report for information. Moved by Jim, seconder. Dottie, any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. It's the administrative officers, ARO discretionary policy decisions, the quarterly report, authored by Jenna. Joe and Jenna can answer any questions that the board may have on this report. Brian, go ahead.
Move for information.
Okay. Moved by Brian. Recommendation is that the board of directors receive the ARO quarterly report for information. That's moved by Brian. Seconder, second by Anna. Discussion. Okay, don't see any. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, it's carried. Have we lost a few members on our screen? No. Okay, I'll do that again. Sorry. So it was moved by Brian and seconded by Anna, I believe. That the board of directors received the ARO quarterly report for information. Call the vote again. All those in favor? With the betting, okay, that's carried, thank you. My apologies. I was watching the room and watching the screen here at the same time, so. And recognizing there's delays on the internet as well. So, all right, 8.3. Our project status update. Tracy's provided our regular update on the status of our various projects and activities that we're working on. Any questions for Tracy on this report? Lots of information there. Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess just a comment. I really like this the chart and what it does. My fear is that it's gonna grow quite large. And so I'm glad that we do see some things that are gonna switch off to, after this meeting. Is it the plan to, I can't remember if we do it, is it the plan to switch it after the AGM, right? Is to kind of clear it off again?
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, that's exactly the time frame. Is, again, with after the AGM, new budget year, and being able to reset. Again, now that we have our approved strategic plan, I think I might do a little bit of reorganizing to ensure that things are kind of all grouped together in those same priority areas. Again, just giving some thought to how that might look right now, but expect to see the same types of information, but maybe organized a little bit differently. And these completed items marked as done and completely off the list. But it's always nice to look back and see the amount of things that have been completed and which projects are kind of ongoing and how we can just switch those over to the quarterly reports as outlined in the reports you heard today too.
Okay, thanks, Tracy. Any other questions for Tracy on this report? Okay, don't see any. Recommendation is that the board of directors receives the report for information. Moved by Paul, seconder please, seconded by Skylar. Okay, call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, it's carried. Thank you. 8.4. Responses and communications. This is concerning the proposed boundaries for the regional consolidation of Ontario's conservation authorities. Tracy has authored this report. And is there anything, Tracy, that you wanted to add towards this?
Yes, through the chair, just kind of wanted to highlight a few of the things, given that there was so much happening at the end of the year. Lots of our municipalities moved forward with supporting resolutions that oppose the proposed boundaries. And our own messaging that was going out. Pretty impressive, in my view, of the number of Facebook views on the messages that went out, over 143,000, and then another 18,000 on Instagram. So seeing those types of interactions on conservation authorities changes, I thought was really impressive. Some of the other numbers that we heard from the roundtables discussions, the full 10 days prior to the closing of the ERO, was at that time MECP staff had already received over 2,500 comments on the ERO. Conservation Ontario has been trying to compile some, but because it goes through those environmental registry postings, we're not sure of the final numbers until all of that has been reviewed and final numbers are posted. There are a number of letters of support that we did receive either directly or were copied that are linked or provided in the report that you see. As well, whenever there was a municipality that provided a resolution and Conservation Ontario was copied or the CA was locally copied and passed along to CO, you can see those responses as well. I think just our meeting yesterday, there's still some trickling in. After the holidays, I think there was over 120 municipalities that supported resolutions too. So seeing all of that, I wanted to make sure that some of those messages were shared to all of you. I'd encourage you to click on some of the links that were provided through other responses and submissions. Some really impressive comments from some very knowledgeable organizations and people whether it be the joint letter of 74 former CA and many staff members, or even the Ontario Nature Submission, which was on behalf of 94 environmental organizations across the province, all having concerns with the proposal. So certainly direct you to that. We are meeting regularly as conservation authorities, GMs within southwestern Ontario, to continue our communications to the province on this matter. Although the ERO posting is closed, still think there's some work to be doing to make sure that the province is aware of what these challenges are. And that really as CAs, yes, there may be some changes needed, but we really want to understand what is the problem they're trying to solve, and we want to be part of the solution, given our expertise on the ground and how we implement, how we can solve those problems for the province. That's the case. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Mark, you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to make a quick statement about the January 16th meeting with the mayors and the wardens. I'll be honest with you, and I thought Tracy did an incredibly good job with her PowerPoint demonstration that she gave to the entire group. There was probably maybe as many as 20 mayors and wardens that were there. And the reason I say she did a terrific job, because I was honestly afraid going into it, not knowing what level of understanding each mayor and each person in the room had on the entire process of what was happening with our CAs, that maybe the report would be slightly remedial, but it actually wasn't, because I think everyone had a slightly different level of understanding, and therefore when it came to asking questions or to having to put everyone basically on the same page, on the same base as far as understanding where we had gone so far. And Dean did a great job there, as did the mayor of London, Josh Morgan, and of course Brian Petrie from our board was there, as well as the mayor of Ingersoll. So I thought it was a very fruitful morning at London City Hall.
Thanks, Mark. Brian?
Yeah, I'll second that. I'm sure Dean will have comments as well. My comment or statement, I guess, is that I think if we could share that information that was provided that day with our member municipalities, because it was very useful. Again, we forget sitting around the board table. We know this. We have some great representatives from council here who get that information, but the more we can educate our member municipalities, the better, and the general public through them. They have different audiences as well. So any information that we continue, because the province isn't going back till March. There's going to be a lull there, and then the fervor goes away as the speed of life comes at you. So the more we can keep this in the eye of our member municipalities and what it means to them is very important, I think, because that's who's paying the bill, and we need them along our sides to do that. And I know there'd be some follow-up stuff coming out of that, but again, I do thank Tracy and the team for putting all that together. It was good.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Sandy, you're next on the speakers list.
Looking forward to your comments, Mr. Chair. What I'd like to know is, out of the meeting on the 16th, what are the next steps that were discussed and perhaps decided?
Well, I will be very cautious in my answer. As was indicated earlier, the presentation was met with great interest. Lots of good questions were asked. It did get everyone on the same footing. There was Tracy's presentation was about a half hour, and then she exited the room. And then Mark and I stayed in the room for the discussion amongst the mayors and elected officials. Different things were discussed. At the end of the discussion, it was resolved that the mayors wanted more information from the province. They wanted more information by way of conversation with the province. I'm not going to reveal what that might look like, because I don't want to presuppose the methodology that they will use to engage the province, and I don't want to cramp their style. It was it was their meeting, not the board's meeting, or not the authority's meeting. But I can say that it was received with great interest, very good questions. All that attended were engaged, and all that attended expressed concerns as it related to their municipalities. Through that discussion, common concerns were established, and that those common concerns are going to be brought forward to the province. Beyond that, you would have to ask your individual mayors what their take is on the meeting. So I think that's probably where I'm going to leave it, other than to thank Mayor Morgan and London City staff for organizing such a meeting. Again, we talk about communication and partnerships, especially with our member municipalities, and this was an example that communication and partnership working for the greater benefit of all in the watershed. So I appreciate the City of London, Mayor Morgan, for organizing that, and appreciate the response from the member municipalities, their mayors, for coming forward to meet and talk and engage on this crucial subject. So I think I'll leave my comments at that. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. I don't know if there's anything else other than recommendation that the board of directors receive this report for information. Oh, Anna, sorry, I didn't see you. Did you have an additional comment?
Yeah, I just want to, I'm pleased that the presentation with the mayors and wardens went well. I think it's information and education that needs to be throughout our municipalities, but I would also encourage CAs to share these presentations and information to local MPPs as well. I think that's an important conversation to be had with our local MPPs. So just wanted to share that with you. And again, thank you for the update.
Welcome. Thanks, Anna. Anything further? Okay, if not, the recommendation was for the board of directors to receive this report for information. So mover and seconder, please. Moved by Mark. Seconded by Jean. All the question, all those in favor? Opposed, if any, it's carried. Thank you. Item 8.5, the 2026 draft budget municipal feedback. Turn my pages here. Yeah, Tracy had prepared a report on the draft budget. So Tracy, anything that you wanted to add to your report at this time?
Sure, through the chair, I just highlight the presentations that were requested of me to attend council were provided in along with the dates report. I would say maybe down a presentation. I am scheduled to go to Zora on the 4th of February. Certainly bring back any additional comments. Largely the comments received on the budget package were more about clarifications or specific circumstances related to special benefiting levies and the works being proposed on those capital projects. Most were appreciative that these amounts requested this year were very different than the last couple of years where we had double-digit increases and down to kind of a more stable level. Again, each municipality that percentage varies based on the modified current value assessment provided by the province. It's usually a reminder about those types of things. There's also a few questions about some of our programs that we're providing, but again, largely I limited the report to just capture any budget questions. And for the most part, it was fairly straightforward in that regard.
Thanks, Tracy. Sandy?
We're going to get the final budget proposal next meeting. So will there be a highlight of any changes between the previous draft and the final version?
Yes. Again, through the chair, typically the cover report that goes along with the draft budget for consideration highlights any of those changes. And where you might see the changes reflected in the amounts either to the overall general levies, any of the special benefiting projects, or if there's some of the new funds that have come on board as well. I think back in October, we provided a summary list of all the grant applications that we had applied for and the status. We'll provide an update on where some of those funds might be as well in that regard. When we're dealing with the deficits that were proposed at that time, I think we're in pretty good shape moving forward to the 2026 budget.
And I assume we won't hear anything from the province about the impacts and possible impacts of all this.
That's certainly a huge area of uncertainty. If there are any amounts that we perhaps have to defer, it may be worthwhile to set those aside for the uncertainties that we might be experiencing this year.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions for Tracy on this? Seeing none, recommendation is that the board of directors receives this report for information. Moved by Brian, seconder, Arch. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, if any, it's carried, thank you. 8.6, the January edition of Thames River Current is published online and available for everyone's reading enjoyment. Any questions on the current from anybody? Lots of good content in there, focusing on snow and more snow and freeze.
Say, why does it all have pictures of snow?
Okay, seeing none, recommendation is that the board of directors receive the report for information. Moved by Skylar, seconded by Scotty. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. Thank you. Section 9, reports, committee update, finance and audit committee meeting, no report there. Hearing committee 9.2, there will be a short meeting of the 2026 hearing committee following this meeting. So moving up to section 10, the elections. Before we start, I'll request a motion to appoint Tracy Annett as acting chair. The purpose of conducting the 2026 elections. Moved by Paul, seconder please. Seconded by Peter. All those, recommendation that, so all those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. So I will turn the floor over to Tracy and she will be our acting chair for elections.
Thank you, Dean. I will be following our procedure for election of officers outlined in our administrative bylaws, appendix 2. But first, in case we do have any requirement for counting of ballots, I would like to appoint scrutineers if they're required. All ballots, in the case of the scrutineers, will be destroyed by the scrutineers afterwards. But first, I'll call a motion for the appointment of one or more persons who are not members or managers of the authority to act as scrutineers. A member who will not stand for election may also be appointed as an additional scrutineer if requested. But on the floor, a motion that the board of directors appoint Michelle Vigilante, Eleanor Haggie, and Emily Chandler as scrutineers for the purpose of counting ballots should an election be required. Brian, seconder? Jim? So carried. Now I'll go through the procedure for the election. Oh, sorry, call.
Yeah.
Vote on that, I'll call the vote. So passed. So the election will be conducted in accordance with Conservation Authorities Act, requirements under section 17, as well as our administrative bylaw. The election will be conducted in the following order. First, we'll have the election of the chair. Then we'll have the election of the vice chair. I'm going to ask for nominations for each position. Only current members of the authority who are present may vote and may vote present either in the room or online virtually. We'll have nominations shall be called 3 times and only require a mover, not a seconder. The closing of nominations shall require both a mover and a seconder. Each member nominated shall be asked to accept the nomination. The member must be present to accept the nomination unless the member has advised myself as Secretary Treasurer in writing or by email in advance of the election of their willingness to accept the nomination. I've not heard from anyone who requested a nomination. So, in the case if there's only one nomination, the individual shall be declared into the position by acclamation. If there's more than one nominee, in the event of an election, each nominee shall be permitted not more than 3 minutes to speak for the office in the order of the alphabetical listing by surnames. And then upon acceptance by nominees to stand for the election, ballots shall be distributed to the members by the scrutineers for the purpose of the election. And the acting chair shall ask members to write the name of one individual only on the ballot. For members participating online, if a vote takes place, a poll will be created through Zoom and opened while ballots are being distributed. The scrutineers shall be collecting the ballots. They will leave the meeting to count the ballots and return to advise the acting chair herself with who was elected with more than 50% of the vote. A majority vote shall be required for the election if there is more than 2 nominees, and upon first vote, no nominee receives the majority required for election. The name of the person with the least number of votes shall be removed from further consideration for the office, and new ballots shall be distributed. In the case of a vote where no nominee receives the majority required for election, and where 2 or more nominees are tied with the least number of votes, a special vote shall be taken to decide which of the such tied nominees' names shall be dropped from the list of names to be voted on in the next vote. Should there be a tie between the 2 remaining candidates, new ballots shall be distributed again and a second vote held. Should there be a tie after the second ballot, a third vote shall be held. Should there be a tie after the third vote of the election, the office will be decided by lot with a successful candidate drawn by myself to determine who is in the office. So for the election of chair, the position, I'll be calling the position of chair 3 times. Nominees will only require removal. So I'm asking for nominations for the position of chair. First time, I'll call. Sandy.
Nominate Brian Petrie.
Call again for the nomination of the position of chair, second time. Done. I'm going to call for a third time for the nominations of chair. Do I have a mover? Oh, I'm going to close the nomination, sorry. For the nominations after the third reading, for the position of chair is closed. Do I have a mover and a seconder? A mover.
Nominations closed.
Okay. A seconder? Jim?
Jim will second that.
Brian, do you accept the nomination?
I do. What I'm worried about is telling my wife. What I'm more scared about than the problem.
Well, I will say that Brian Petrie is acclaimed chair of the River Conservation Authority. Would you like to speak to your nomination at all?
No, I appreciate the opportunity again. It's certainly going to be a different year. And so, yeah, one thing I do want to say is thank you to Dean. Dean was not only a fantastic vice chair, but also a chair, and he's got the same disease of putting up his hand. And so he certainly got his plate full, as we all do. But when I look at certainly don't have the duties of warden, deputy mayor, and full-time farmer. So it's hard to say no in those circumstances. So I know that Dean's not going to be not busy, and that I can't thank him enough for all the work that time and effort he's put in, because I know he's given it everything like he does with everything that he does. So I appreciate his leadership, and certainly yeah, I know he's not going anywhere, but so certainly glad to be back, I guess. I wish it was better times. It's certainly not those, but we'll make the best of it. And there's a lot of work to do, and certainly not going into that with rose-colored glasses. But I appreciate the opportunity once again. It's a great organization, and I hope it continues.
Okay, now I'll move to the election of vice chair. I'm going to ask for nominations for the position of vice chair 3 times. I have a nomination. Brian.
I'll nominate Dean Trzaskowski for position of vice chair.
Okay, I'll call for a second. Any nominations for the position of vice chair? And 3rd time, call for any nominations for the position of vice chair. I'm going to ask for a mover and seconder that nominations for the position of vice chair be closed. Jim. Scotty. Dean Trzaskowski. He's acclaimed as vice chair of the Upper Thames River Conservation.
Vote.
Oh, sorry. Mover and second. Are you accepting the nomination? That's
Yeah,
what I've got.
yes, I am.
Yes. Just made the assumption there. Okay. So with only one nominee, Dean Trzaskowski is acclaimed as vice chair of the Thames River Conservation Authority. And I'm going to need that to be carried. We had it moved by Scotty, and nominations are closed. So sorry about this. Is that carried? Yeah. I'll speak to that.
Oh, thanks, Tracy. Well, it's been a pleasure serving as chair of the authority, and taking on the leadership role, representing the authority, both at meetings and in the public. As Brian alluded to, it's interesting times, but it seems since I started this board, it's always been interesting times. And we've always managed to find our way through, and I'll go back to previous chair Alan Dale's donkey in the well. Every time something gets thrown at us, we seem to take it on with great energy and vigor and find a solution, find a way. And I'm confident that we'll continue to do that in the year going forward. Happy to support Brian as chair, and happy to support the staff when called upon, and support staff and board members when the need arises. Yes, I had to step aside as chair, just my calendar was getting full and I didn't feel it would be fair to the board or the authority. Yes, I stepped back and allowed someone else to carry on as chair, but it's been a privilege, been an honor. I learned a lot, and willing to take those lessons forward to the challenges that lay in the year ahead. So thank you very much for your support, cooperation. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Now, with those 2 positions, we can move on to the election of the hearing committee. Again, as stipulated in section B 14 of our administrative bylaw, the hearings committee consists of the chair, vice chair, past authority chair, and 2 additional members. So with that, we have 2 additional members. Okay.
Three.
Since there's no
Three.
past chair, there'll be 3 members.
Right.
Elected.
So I'll be calling for nominations for the positions of hearing committee 3 times. Nominations,
I nominate Sandy.
I'll call again for nominations, for position of hearing committee. Brian,
I nominate, Mark Schattenberg.
and I'll call for nominations for the position of hearing committee.
I nominate Jim Craigman.
Okay. I can just call to close nominations. Have a mover. And Harsh. Okay, so for the mover and seconder, that nominations for the hearing members be closed, and I'm going to ask each member if they will accept their nomination. Sandy, will you
Yes.
accept your nomination? Hearing committee? Oh, maybe it's frozen.
No.
Oh, I don't think you heard. Oh, Mark, do you
Yes.
accept your nomination?
I thought you were I didn't hear you call my name.
Sorry.
Yes.
And Jim, do you accept your nomination?
Yes.
So, given that there's only 3 nominees, for the position on the hearing committee, Sandy Levin, Mark Schattenberg, and Jim Craigmile are claimed to the 2026 hearing committee. Okay. The next election. Oh. Sorry, finance and audit. Sorry, the pages are not numbered here, and there's lots of them. So next we'll move on to the finance and audit committee. So in this position, and this committee consists of the chair and the vice chair and 1 to 3 additional members as stipulated in section B 14 of our administrative bylaw. I'm going to ask for the nominations for the positions on the finance and audit committee 3 times. So first call for nominees for the finance and audit committee. Ryan.
I nominate Sandy Levin, Paul Mitchell, and Harsh Najjar to audit and finance committee.
The second time I'll call for nominations for the finance and audit committee. And a third time I'll call for nominations for the finance and audit committee. I'll ask for a mover and seconder that the nominations for finance and audit committee members be closed.
So moved.
A seconder, Jim. Okay, Sandy, would you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Paul, you accept the nomination? And Harsh, do you accept the nomination? Have your name
Yes.
stand?
Yes.
So with the 3 nominees, Sandy Levin, Paul, and Harsh Najjar are acclaimed to the 2026 Finance and Audit Committee. And then the last position we have voting on is the election of the Source Water Protection Committee, the Liaison Striking Committee. I'm going to ask for nominations for the position of the Source Water Protection Committee Liaison and Striking Committee member 3 times. Oh. I'm calling for nominations. First time. Oh,
I nominate Sandy.
I'm going to call a second time for nominations for the position. I'm going to call a third time for the nominations for the position. Andy, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Ask for a mover and seconder that the nominations for the Source Water Protection being closed. Brian. The seconder, Anna. Okay. That is. Yes, I have to just read out that Sandy Levin is acclaimed to the position of Source Water Protection Committee Liaison and Striking Committee member. Okay, with that, I will turn the floor back over to our new chair, Brian Petrie.
Thank you very much. Well, I guess we'll get right into it and get out of here. Notice of motion. Anybody have a notice of motion? Seeing none. Chair's comments. I think I've made enough today. The only thing I'll say is keep spreading the word about what's happening and you know, we'll try to get somewhere on that. And Dean, did you have anything to add as chair that you wanted?
No, just repeating what I've said today and at our last meeting, we've got until someone comes marching up the driveway, comes through the front door and tells us otherwise. And even then, when they tell us otherwise, we still got work to do. We still got responsibilities that we're required to administer and look after. And we'll just, despite all the uncertainty and whatnot, we'll put our best foot forward for the betterment of our communities that are within our watersheds and in the best interest of the organization so that it can look after the best interests of our communities. So just keep working together and do the best we can, and looking forward to working with everybody in those endeavors. Thank you.
I will say I want to thank everybody who put their name forward. You know, being on a board is a lot of work and everybody's busy. There's those extra positions that I want to thank everybody for doing what they can with their schedules and being available. There's some good rewarding work there, but I know that not everybody's available to be able to do that with their schedules. So I do appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody being on the board and being active. So, it's yeah, and I really appreciate our past chair's comments. They're very true comments, and we have to keep that in our minds and keep positive. Turn over to members' comments. Paul.
Yeah, I just echo the comment. Thanks to Dean for all he's done, and certainly understand why he's stepping back. There's only so much that a human can do. It's a bit of a human, but and I want to thank Brian for stepping forward. Like the word of the day, as Tracy said, was uncertainty, and you're jumping into waters that you don't know how deep they are or how shallow they are. And well, I just appreciate you taking this on, and good luck with your wife.
Those are the waters I'm worried. Yeah. Mark.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I did want to thank Dean Trentowski for his year as chair as well. Just want to let everyone know that in the city of Woodstock, I've got the sort of the role of acting mayor for our 4th year of the current council, and that'll certainly give me some extra responsibilities there. And I enjoyed my time as vice chair.
And thanks to you, Mark, for your assistance during the past year as vice chair, there was a couple opportunities where I wasn't able to act as chair at different times. So I appreciate your help in that regard. Thank you.
And certainly, same Mark, appreciate the conversations that we had and it's and the work that you've done. Yeah, it's the great thing about this job that we are all in, that is there's lots of opportunity out there and certainly thank you for stepping forward for Woodstock and all the committee work that you do as well. You know, it's always appreciated and as everybody said, there's only so many hours in a day. Everybody tries to fill those whether we want to or not, so it's not. I will now turn over. Is there any other members' comments? I'll turn that over to the general manager then.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to give a little bit of a reminder, our next meeting in February is our annual general meeting. We'll be having it in person. Looking forward to having a couple of awards presented during that time. Of course, our staff service awards as well, and lunch to follow. So just reminding everyone that that's going to be happening. Michelle will be sending out emails with some of the particulars, so it's on your calendars as well. Certainly, it seems to be a pretty quick time period since our last meeting and then this meeting in January, since we normally don't have a December meeting. So things certainly crept up on us pretty quickly. Again, appreciate staff being able to pull together the reports and the information to share back with you, especially with the time that we're in right now, so much uncertainty. We want to continue to move forward on our own initiatives that we think will improve the authority and improve the work that we're doing within it. And lots of uncertainty, but let's focus on the things that we value and we want to improve within our own watershed. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we're left with just adjournment. So I'm moving a seconder to adjourn. Moved by Dean, seconded by Scotty. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
We've got the hearing committee after.
Oh yes, hearing committee needs to stay.
Bye, everyone.
Try to turn that around as fast as possible because Dean has to get everybody.